I walked through the front door, and Jessica greeted me with that same warm smile she'd worn since our honeymoon 8 years ago. House lights dimmed just right, soft jazz playing low enough to hear the dishwasher humming its familiar rhythm. She took my gear bag, hung my captain's jacket on the hook by the door, kissed me hello, and slid a plate of dinner across the counter like we'd choreographed it 1,000 times before. "Sit," she said, eyes soft with concern. "You look exhausted. That warehouse fire on 5th Street really took it out of you, didn't it?" 24-hour shift, I told her, though my shoulders still ached from hauling hose up 4 flights of stairs while coordinating 2 engine companies. "But I'm fine. This is better than fine." We ate. She asked about the call, about Rodriguez who kept forgetting radio protocols during the chaos, about whether my turnout gear needed repairs after crawling through that smoke-filled basement. She knew my rhythms after all these years, knew that after a big fire, I needed to decompress slowly, needed her to ask the right questions that let me process what I'd seen. After dinner, she curled up next to me on the couch, feet tucked under my leg, scrolling through streaming options on her tablet. "You pick," she said. "I trust your judgment completely." Dangerous responsibility, I teased. It was home, the kind of quiet peace most men would trade a year of their lives for. If I'd known where it was headed, I'd have savored that silence a little longer. I'd have paid more attention to the way she said completely, like she was trying to convince herself of something. The next morning, I hit Murphy's Diner, like always. Same waitress who knew my order, same corner booth where I could see both exits. Old habits from the job. Same black coffee, strong enough to cut through the smoke smell that never quite leaves your hair. I was scanning departmental emails about budget allocations when a woman I'd never seen before set her cup down across from me. Pretty, early 30s, with precise eyes that didn't blink much. Professional clothes, expensive purse, manicured nails. The kind of woman who planned her life in 15-minute increments. No introduction, no small talk, no warning. "Your wife is sleeping with my husband," she said. I stared at her over my coffee cup. She didn't flinch, didn't look away, didn't soften the blow with apologetic expressions. "That's one hell of an opening line," I managed. She slid her phone across the table without ceremony. Photos filled the screen. My driveway at noon yesterday during my shift. A man I didn't recognize walking up my front steps, clear view of his face, handsome in that gym rat way, designer polo shirt, confident stride. Another shot through my front window showed him inside my house, just a sliver of my living room visible, but there was that blue throw blanket Jessica loved draped over his shoulders. My coffee went cold in, my hands. The background noise of the diner, clinking silverware, morning conversations, the coffee machine hissing, all faded to white noise. "Who are you?" I asked, my voice steady despite the earthquake in my chest. "Sophia Martinez," she said. "He's Brad Coleman, owns that new CrossFit place downtown. Elite Fitness. I hired a private investigator 3 weeks ago when things started feeling off at home." She paused, studying my face like she was reading smoke patterns. "I got the full report 2 days ago. I've watched you come in here every morning since then, acting like everything was normal. It didn't seem fair anymore to let you live in the lie. I don't take strangers at their word. Never have, never will." 15 years of emergency response taught me that first reports are usually wrong, that people see what they expect to see, that truth comes in layers. "I'm not built to believe things without verification," I said. "Then don't believe me," she said, voice matter of fact. "Believe the evidence." I zoomed in on the photos with fingers that felt disconnected from my brain. Timestamps. Weekdays, always between noon and 2 p.m., right in the middle of my 24-hour shifts when I was at the station, when Jessica knew I'd be tied up with training drills, equipment maintenance, or calls. The scheduling was surgical in its precision. My chest tightened, not from hurt, but from that slow burn of controlled anger I knew from structure fires. The kind that starts small and builds methodical, that requires discipline to manage or it consumes everything around it. "I'm going home," I said, pushing back from the booth. Her hand settled on my forearm, not flirtatious, not comforting, steadying like a safety line in a smoke-filled room. "Don't, not yet. You storm in there right now, everything explodes, and the pieces will cut you worse than the original blade. Document first, build your case, set your terms before you engage the fire." She was using my language, fire service terminology that civilians don't usually know. You expect me to sit on this information? I expect you to act like a man who doesn't create disasters he'll spend the next year cleaning up, she said. You're a fire captain. You know about controlled burns. I sat back down because she was right about one thing. I hate unnecessary complications, and because something in her tone told me she'd been through this particular hell already. How long has this been going on? I asked. I don't know. Could be months, could be longer. My investigator is thorough, former police detective who specializes in matrimonial cases. If you want his contact information, I'll share it when you're ready. You approach strange men in diners often? Only the ones living in my same nightmare, she said with a bitter smile. Only the ones who deserve to know the truth. We traded numbers. I told her my name, Ryan Parker, Captain, Engine Company 7. She shook my hand like we were signing a mutual aid agreement, then stood to leave. For what it's worth, she said, I'm sorry you're in this club now. Nobody deserves membership. I was late to the station and useless when I got there. Even routine equipment checks felt like performance art. Brooks, my lieutenant for the past 6 years, noticed within the first hour. Cap, you're moving like a man with something heavy on his mind, he said, watching me inspect the same oxygen tank twice. Everything solid at home? Will be, I said. It was the most honest answer I could give. The shift crawled by. Between calls, I found myself mentally replaying the last month, looking for signs I'd missed. Jessica asking more questions about my schedule, new workout clothes appearing in the laundry, her phone face down on counters when it used to sit open, the way she'd started showering immediately after I got home, claiming she'd been gardening or cleaning. Details I'd dismissed as normal life changes now felt like evidence. By lunch, I'd made a decision. On the drive home that evening, I rehearsed confrontations in my head, then discarded each one. Jessica is sharp enough to read smoke before you see flames. She'd know something had shifted the moment I walked through the door if I wasn't careful. At home, same routine, same smile. You're a few minutes later than usual, she said, taking my jacket. Traffic was hell on Madison, I said, leaning against the counter. How was your day? She reached for plates, voice light and practiced. Busy, grocery shopping, yoga class at the community center, nothing too exciting. And around noon? She glanced up, casual as breathing. Noon? I think I was doing laundry. Maybe took a quick nap after yoga. Why? I'm thinking about switching my workout routine to lunch break during shifts. Might swing by for a sandwich between calls. That's sweet, she said, and there was the tiniest hesitation before she smiled. I'll make something special for you. I watched her face carefully. The pause was real. So was the way her hand tightened almost imperceptibly on the plate she was holding. We ate dinner, watched a crime drama where the detective always got his man. She tucked her feet under my leg again, same as always. Everything looked like our life, but there was a frequency shift now, like a radio station not quite tuned in. Recognizable, but distorted. The next morning, I met Sophia again at Murphy's, both of us pretending it was coincidence. You holding up okay? She asked, settling into the booth with practiced efficiency. I'm steady, I said, and I'm making adjustments. No announcements, just changing my operational patterns. Good. Keep her guessing about your intel. How long have you been married? I asked. 6 years this November, she said. Brad travels for work, or so I thought. Turns out he travels to our shared zip code. Her laugh was sharp enough to cut glass. I run HR for a logistics company. I know when someone's lying about their schedule. I almost smiled despite everything. I run a fire station. We live by protocols and accountability. Apparently, I didn't apply the same standards at home. Don't blame yourself for not expecting deception in your own house, she said. You weren't looking for smoke because you trusted the alarm system. I don't do blame, I said. I do course corrections. We traded information about schedules and patterns. When I left, I stopped by First National and set up separate accounts under just my name, left the joint checking funded for monthly bills, cut off all discretionary spending, no dramatic gestures, just financial mathematics. At the station, Brooks was inventorying medical supplies when I walked in. Cap, you've been pacing like a caged animal for 2 days. What's got you wound up? New routines, I said, testing different approaches to work-life balance. You hate change, he said, setting down his clipboard and looking at me directly. In 12 years, you've reorganized the station exactly once. What's really going on? I hate inefficiency, I said. Different problem entirely. He studied my face the way he studied fire scenes, looking for the origin point. But Brooks was good people. He'd wait until I was ready to talk. That afternoon during our downtime, I drove past my own house at 12:30. Didn't stop, didn't linger. No strange car in the driveway, but Sophia's photos had shown an empty driveway too. I parked around the corner and watched for 15 minutes, then headed back to the station. I did that for 3 days running. Nothing obvious, just the growing feeling of standing on a floor that was about to give way. Thursday evening, I came home early without calling ahead. She was at the stove, hair tied up in a messy bun, music playing from her phone on the counter. When she turned and saw me, surprise flickered across her face for just a moment before she smiled. "You're early," she said. "Missed my wife," I said, kissing her cheek and meaning it, even with everything I now suspected. "What's for lunch tomorrow?" She hesitated like someone who'd been caught changing frequencies mid-conversation. "I could bring you something at the station. That new deli downtown makes those sandwiches you like." "Actually, I'll swing by here," I said, opening the refrigerator and pulling out a beer. "Maybe around 12:30, between training drills." "You never come home during shifts," she said, head tilted in that way that used to be charming. "Trying something new," I said. "See how it impacts crew morale when I'm not breathing down their necks for a few hours." She rested a hand on my arm. "Ryan, if you're stressed about work, just say it. Don't rearrange your entire life to prove some point about management style." "Not proving anything," I said. "Conducting field tests." She pulled back slightly. "Okay, then at least text me so I can plan. Accordingly, you know I like having the house ready when you visit." "I'll surprise you," I said. Her smile went tight around the edges. "We're partners, Ryan. We share information about schedule changes." "We share the important things," I said. "You don't need my minute-by-minute operational status." She laughed, but it sounded manufactured. "When did you start talking like we're running separate command centers?" The next morning at Murphy's, Sophia slid a business card across the table before I'd even finished my first cup of coffee. "My attorney, Klein, Morrison, and Associates. He's clean, doesn't posture, and he doesn't play games with people's lives." "I'll call," I said, studying the card. "Do more than call," she said, leaning forward. "Walk in today. This situation gets worse before it gets better, and you need legal framework in place before you make any moves." "You sound like a doctor preparing me for surgery. Do you want the infection removed, or do you want to keep applying Band-Aids?" Her HR background showed in the way she spoke about problems, clinical, systematic, focused on solutions rather than emotions. I booked a meeting for that afternoon. Klein had a clean office in the financial district and a direct way of speaking that reminded me of the best battalion chiefs I'd worked under. "You want a quiet exit," he said, after I laid out the situation completely. "No public drama, no scorched earth tactics." "Correct. I want this handled professionally." "Then you control the flow of information and access to marital assets," he said, ticking off points on his fingers. "Document everything, announce nothing. When you're ready, we file and serve simultaneously. Until then, you maintain normal operational status at home." Define normal operational status. He slid a checklist across his mahogany desk. I generally hate other people's checklists, but this one was thorough and logical. "Timeline?" I asked. 2 to 3 weeks for preparation if you follow the protocol exactly. Rushing this serves no one's interests except theirs. That evening at home, I decided to test the waters differently. Instead of my usual routine, I cooked dinner. Jessica walked in from her yoga class to find me at the stove, something that had happened maybe 5 times in our entire marriage. "You never cook on weeknights," she said, genuine surprise in her voice. "Learning new skills," I said, stirring the pasta sauce I'd made from scratch using my mother's recipe. She leaned over my shoulder to taste it, and for a moment, everything felt normal. "It's really good, Ryan." High praise from the woman who makes restaurant-quality meals every night. She settled against the counter, watching me work. "I'm sorry if I've been, I don't know, distant lately, stressed about work stuff. I want us to be good." There was the first soft manipulation. She laid a hand on my chest like a pledge of allegiance, warm words delivered in a warm kitchen. Under other circumstances, I'd have taken it at face value and moved on. This time, I filed it under tactics and timing. Then we're good, I said. I'm not complicated to keep happy. Honesty, good food, and someone who's actually here when she says she is. She laughed, but I caught the slight tightness around her eyes. Of course I'm here. Where else would I be? I made a mental note to change the locks when this was over. Over the next week, I kept meeting Sophia mornings. Our conversations evolved beyond case updates into actual dialogue about life, work, and the strange situation we found ourselves in. She had a dry sense of humor and a way of observing people that reminded me of a fire investigator, seeing patterns others missed. You sleeping at all? She asked one Thursday morning. Some. That means no. You're here before they unlock the doors. I like the quiet before the morning rush, I said. I like clarity before people start performing their daily routines. Speaking of routines, she said, my investigator updated his report yesterday. The pattern is incredibly consistent. Monday, Wednesday, Friday at your house. Tuesday, Thursday at a hotel downtown, the Marriott on State Street. The systematic nature of it was almost impressive in its audacity. That same day, I decided to test my new lunch schedule. I drove home at 12:15 without calling ahead. 2 houses down, my neighbor Paulson was working in his front yard, retired Marine, protective of his property, knew every vehicle on our block and most of their license plates. Mr. Paulson, I called casually. He straightened up from his flower bed and nodded. Captain Parker, home early today? Testing some new scheduling approaches, I said. You notice any unusual traffic on the street during weekdays? He wiped his hands on his jeans, considering. Red BMW with county plates shows up most afternoons. Guy with a gym bag and too much cologne. Walks up your steps like he's paying the mortgage. How often? 3 times a week, maybe 4. Regular as clockwork. I figured you knew about it, or I'd have mentioned it before now. I appreciate you keeping an eye out, I said. If you see him again, just make a note of when. I'll do more than that if you want, he said, and there was quiet Marine Corps steel underneath the neighborly offer. Inside my house, the air felt different. Not just the lingering scent of expensive cologne that wasn't mine, but something more subtle. The energy of a space where someone had recently been who didn't belong. A wine glass sat on the kitchen counter with a faint lipstick mark on the rim. Jessica doesn't wear lipstick during the day, and she definitely doesn't drink wine before 2 p.m. I photographed it, bagged it with date and time notations, then washed it clean. In the living room, the throw pillows on the couch were arranged differently than Jessica's usual pattern. She's particular about symmetry, always has been, but one pillow sat at an angle that suggested someone had been lying against it. I photographed that too. Back at the station, Brooks was updating training schedules when I walked in. Cap, you missed lunch. That's not like you. Had to handle some personal business, I said. Rain check on the sandwich run? You never rain check, he said, studying my expression. Everything stable on the home front? Getting there, I said. Do me a favor, though. After shift tomorrow, swing by my place with me. I need to pick up some department files I've been working on at home. He didn't ask why I needed backup for a simple file retrieval. Good officers understand when questions aren't welcome yet. We went to my house after the next shift ended. I unlocked the front door and stepped inside, Brooks right behind me. The air carried that same displaced feeling, like a room where someone had just left who shouldn't have been there in the first place. A men's polo shirt hung over the back of a kitchen chair. Expensive fabric, designer logo, definitely not mine. That yours, Cap? Brooks asked. Negative. I photographed it from multiple angles, bagged it with date and time documentation, and set it by the door. I'm not a dramatic man, but 15 years of emergency response taught me that evidence preservation can make or break a case. In the hallway bathroom, I found a single hair on the sink that didn't belong to anyone who lived in this house. Dark, short, with the kind of product styling that comes from professional salon treatments. Want to explain what we're documenting here? Brooks asked after I'd bagged the second piece of evidence. Not yet, I said, but I appreciate you witnessing this. That shirt, he said as we walked back to his truck. Definitely not your style. No, I said, it's not. He let the subject drop because good friends know when to push and when to wait. That evening, Jessica tried the bright and cheerful approach again, but the wattage was turned up too high. You're quiet tonight, she said, loading the dishwasher with more energy than the task required. Everything okay at the station? Fine. You and Brooks have some kind of disagreement? We're solid. You seem mad at me about something. I don't do mad, I said. I make decisions based on available information. That sounds ominous. That sounds like me being honest, I said. I'm moving to the guest room for a while. I need better sleep quality. Because of what? Because I said so, I said, and left it there. She followed me down the hall, watching me strip sheets off the spare bed and replace them with clean ones from the linen closet. Are you punishing me for something I don't understand? I'm not in the punishment business, I said. I'm in the clarity business. She stood in the doorway while I arranged my pillows with military precision. Can we at least talk about whatever this is? We just did. She took a deep breath through her nose like that accomplished something meaningful. I'm making your favorite dinner tomorrow night, she said finally. Don't be difficult just to be difficult. Make whatever you want, I said. Food doesn't change mathematics. The next morning, Sophia was early to Murphy's and carrying a different energy. Less strategic briefing, more personal conversation. Forget our spouses for 1 hour, she said before I'd even sat down. You're a better man than this story you're living. You're clear-headed and steady and honest. Let's have an actual dinner tonight, not these tactical meetings over coffee. Tonight, I said without hesitation. Then I thought about it and repeated, tonight. We picked a steakhouse 15 minutes outside town, neutral territory where neither of us had history or memories to navigate around. We kept it simple, good food, better conversation, no discussion of the people who'd brought us together. Instead, we talked about favorite vacation destinations, childhood pets, the worst movies we'd ever paid to see. She teased me about my habit of organizing everything in straight lines. I gave her grief about keeping backup plans for her backup plans. Outside in the parking lot, I walked her to her car. We stood there for a moment in the cool evening air, neither rushing toward the next thing. That felt normal, she said quietly. Not perfect, not dramatic, just real. I know exactly what you mean, I said. She touched my arm. Kiss me if you want to. Don't if it makes you feel like you're stooping to their level. Their level requires lying to yourself, I said. I'm done with self-deception. We kissed. No fireworks, no guilty conscience. Just two people who'd found solid ground in the middle of an earthquake. When she drove away, I sat in my truck for another few minutes, then headed home. Jessica was waiting in the kitchen when I walked in. The clock on the microwave read later than my usual return time. You didn't text, she said, arms crossed. Didn't feel the need. You always text when you're going to be late. Not anymore, I said. I'm modifying that protocol. You don't get to unilaterally change our agreements, she said, voice rising. I do, I said, especially when the agreement stopped being mutual weeks ago. What does that mean? It means I have more information than you think I do, I said, and I'm making decisions accordingly. You're being cryptic and childish. No, I said, I'm protecting my time from conversations designed to waste it. She stared at me for a long moment, then shifted tactics with professional smoothness. I made that pasta dish you love. It's in the refrigerator if you want to heat some up. I ate, I said, and walked toward the guest room. Ryan? Her voice followed me down the hall. Whatever's bothering you, we can work through it. We're a team. I turned around. Teams share the same objectives, I said. Teams operate with mutual transparency. Teams don't keep separate schedules for activities that affect the whole unit. I don't know what you think you know, but I know enough, I said. That's all that matters. I filed papers with Klein the following Monday morning. The office was quiet, efficient, no wasted motion or unnecessary drama. Your documentation is thorough, he said, reviewing my evidence folders. Timeline looks clean. When you're ready to execute, we can move quickly. How quickly? File and serve same day if you give me 24 hours notice. Good, I said. I'll be in touch. At the station, I pulled Brooks aside during our equipment check. I'm going to be handling some personal business over the next few weeks, I told him. Nothing that affects my duties here, but my head might be somewhere else occasionally. You need anything from me? Just what you've already given, I said. Steady friendship and professional backup when requested. He nodded. You've got both, for as long as you need them. That weekend, we had plans for a backyard barbecue at the Henderson place. Old friends who collected people like trophies and orchestrated social gatherings with military precision. I almost canceled, then decided I needed one final boundary test on neutral ground. Karen Henderson hugged Jessica too long, and me too briefly. She was the type of woman who kept social scorecards and noticed when marriages showed stress fractures. People gathered around the grill, craft beer in hand, conversations flowing with practiced ease. A guy I barely tolerated, some middle manager who thought loudness equaled personality, tried to engage me in shop talk. "So Ryan, heard the department's looking at promoting you to battalion chief," he said with a grin that showed too many teeth. "Look at you, moving up the command chain." "It's just rank," I said. "Leadership is what people do when nobody's watching." Jessica jumped in with that eye roll she thought was charming. "Don't get him started on leadership philosophy," she said to the group. "He'll give you a lecture on incident command structure." Eyes around the circle turned toward me, waiting for either entertainment or embarrassment. I set my beer down on the patio table. "Try that approach again," I said to Jessica, voice completely level. She laughed nervously. "I'm just kidding around. Relax." "Don't," I told her. "Don't make me the punchline to earn social credit with people who don't matter." The conversation circle went dead quiet. Karen rushed to fill the silence with too bright chatter about the weather and who needed fresh drinks. I looked directly at Jessica. "New rule. We don't critique each other in public spaces. Ever. You need something from me, you use direct communication. No implications, no performance." "Everyone's so serious tonight," she said with a forced laugh that fooled nobody. "I am serious," I said, "and I'm completely calm. Don't mistake that for weakness." Karen blinked between us like she was watching a tennis match. "You two are okay, right?" "We're updating our operational procedures," I said. "Everything's fine." We left 20 minutes later. During the drive home, Jessica sat rigid in the passenger seat. "You embarrassed me in front of our friends." "No," I said. "I prevented you from embarrassing me in front of people whose opinions don't affect my paycheck." "You made a scene over nothing." "I established a boundary," I said. "If that registers as a scene to you, that's information about your expectations, not my behavior." She tried a different approach, her voice softening. "I booked us a weekend cabin at Lake Morrison next month. Thought it would be nice to reconnect." The manipulation was professional grade. She even pulled up the reservation confirmation on her phone. "Want me to cancel it?" she asked. "Is that what you're pushing for?" "Manage your calendar however you want," I said. "I'll be handling my own schedule from now on. You're not special because you're being difficult." "I'm not being difficult," I said. "I'm done pretending things are fine when they're not." The following week, I moved important items to a storage facility across town. Nothing dramatic, personal tools, family photographs, documents that mattered. I established a P.O. box for mail forwarding and lined up a month-to-month apartment lease through a property management company that didn't ask unnecessary questions. I called Klein Thursday morning. "I'm ready to execute. Both signatures by noon," he said. "Service by 5 p.m., clean and professional." Sophia met me at Klein's office that afternoon. We signed our respective paperwork with the efficiency of emergency responders executing a coordinated response plan. Her divorce petition was filed simultaneously with mine. "When this moves, it moves fast," Klein reminded us. "No hesitation, no second guessing." "We're committed," I said. Sophia squeezed my hand once, then released it. We drove separately to our respective houses for the final time. Jessica was in the living room, working on her laptop, when I walked in with empty moving boxes. "Home early again," she said, attempting casualness. "This new schedule of yours is hard to track." "I'm collecting some belongings," I said. "Moving out today." "Moving out where?" The laptop snapped shut. "Away from here," I said. "Details are on the kitchen counter." She stood up, face cycling through confusion, disbelief, then calculation. "You can't just walk out of a marriage without discussion." "I can," I said, "and I am." "This is insane. If something's bothering you, we can work through it like adults." "I've been trying to work through it for weeks," I said. "The problem is that requires two adults operating with the same information. You're being cryptic and unfair." "I'm being decisive," I said. "The explanation window closed when honesty stopped being part of your operational protocol." She tried anger. "You don't even have evidence of anything." "I have sufficient evidence to make informed decisions," I said. "This isn't a courtroom. I don't need proof beyond reasonable doubt." I packed methodically. Clothes, books, items with sentimental value. Left the furniture, left the kitchen equipment, left the shared life we'd built when it was actually shared. I taped an envelope to the refrigerator with her name printed clearly across the front. Inside, divorce paperwork, property settlement proposal, and a handwritten note. Papers filed, keys on the hook, direct further communication through Klein, Morrison, and Associates. When I carried the last box to my truck, she stood in the hallway with her arms crossed and her arsenal of final arguments ready. "You're making the biggest mistake of your life," she said. "No," I said, "I'm correcting one. You'll regret this decision." "I don't operate on regret," I said. "I operate on accountability and forward motion." I loaded the final box, closed the tailgate, and drove to Sophia's place. She was waiting on her front porch with her own boxes, smiling at me with exhausted relief. "Ready for the next chapter?" she asked. "Ready for honest conversation and clean air," I said. We drove north together to the small house we'd found 2 hours outside the city. Quiet neighborhood, good schools nearby for the future we were beginning to envision. Space for both of our careers to flourish without the weight of deception. That first morning in our new home, I made coffee in a kitchen that belonged to both of us equally. Outside the window, land stretched toward a horizon unmarked by lies or betrayal. "You look like a man who's found his footing," Sophia said, joining me with her hair still messed from sleep. "I look like a man who isn't carrying other people's secrets anymore," I said. 6 months later, Brooks visited our new place, touring the workshop I'd built and the garden Sophia had planted. We grilled steaks in the backyard while he updated me on station gossip and department politics. "You landed in a good spot, Cap," he said, looking around at the life we'd constructed together. "We built a good foundation," I told him. "She won't let you get too comfortable with yourself," he said, watching Sophia organize our outdoor furniture with precise efficiency. "That's not her job," Sophia called over. "He manages his own ego just fine." Later, after Brooks had driven back to the city, I checked my phone out of habit. No messages from the past, no calls from people whose opinions no longer affected my decisions. Just a text from Paulson. "Hope you're well, Captain. Street's been quiet since you moved on," I sent back. "All good. Thanks for keeping watch when it mattered." Sometimes life doesn't require grand gestures or dramatic confrontations to deliver its lessons. Sometimes it just needs a clear line, drawn, a door closed with finality, and someone willing to walk toward truth instead of away from it. People might call that approach cold or calculating. I call it leadership. If there's a final lesson here, it's this. I left the keys on the hook and kept my self-respect intact. Everything else was just furniture.